Well, my name is Robin.
And I'm Shyne.
And we are Babes and Cocktails.
Welcome back.
Well, tonight I'm drinking the same Jack Daniels and Cherry Dr. Pepper.
And me as well.
No, she's drinking Jameson.
So, I'm about to repeat. My Jameson and Snap Apple. It's nothing really changed this weekend. So, yeah.
So tonight our topic is the role of vulnerability in deepening connections. Vulnerability in relationships can be defined as the willingness to open oneself up emotionally, share one's thoughts and feelings honestly, and express genuine authenticity without fear of judgment or rejection. It also can play a significant role in deepening connections with others and can help us build empathy and the ability to work through emotions together. Subconsciously, it gives us others permissions to be vulnerable too, which can help them feel less alone. When we trust others with our vulnerabilities and honest and open, they are more likely to trust in return to create an environment of trust and respect. This creates an atmosphere of mutual understanding and acceptance and help build stronger, more genuine relationships with others. Healthy vulnerability involves sharing emotions, thoughts, fears in a way that deepens emotional intimacy and builds trust. It comes with mutual understanding and empathy. Unhealthy vulnerability can take the form of oversharing, emotional dependency, or using vulnerability as a manipulation tactic. It may lead to codependency and emotional exhaustion in relationships. Some tips for doing this when you notice yourself covering up your vulnerability or your vulnerable side include: give yourself compassion, avoid focusing on other people's opinions of you, slow down if you need to, give up perfection, be forthcoming with your needs, and be in the moment.
Vulnerability doesn't come after trust. It has to precede it.
Right.
Vulnerability is a critical building block in trust building, and it involves engaging honestly and showing one's true self. This openness is often met with empathy, resulting in a mutual understanding that solidifies the foundation of any relationship. The first step is to trust. Being vulnerable signifies a willingness to take risks, which encourages others to respond in a kind way, laying the groundwork for trust. And then there's a cycle of empathy that comes up a lot, because that's very important.
Right.
When one person is open about their feelings and experiences, it often leads to reciprocal empathy, strengthening the bond between individuals. Starting small. Introducing vulnerabilities in small doses, focusing on sharing thoughts and concerns gradually to create comfort and safety within the relationship. Diverse relationships, whether in romantic partnerships, friendships, or professional settings, appropriately gauging what it means to be vulnerable can enhance connection and rapport. In a romantic context, in this setting, understanding the significance of a special term of endearment can also exemplify the a form of vulnerability. So
What do you think about all this vulnerability?
I guess in terms of understanding that you have to be vulnerable in a way that's not so, I guess, heavy, but also to an extent to where it's healthy and you can reciprocate it and not just be given and not receiving or taken and not given.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess um, maybe in my predicament, I can see being vulnerable kind of gets tough as you go on because, in relationship wise, I should say, my friendships, my sisters, my circle, I, I don't mind being vulnerable because we've done this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I appreciate being vulnerable with you guys because it means a lot.
There's
And
no judgment.
right, but then when it comes to relationships, I see sometimes that um, on both sides of the field, it's like everybody's worried about being vulnerable because you don't know how much is too much.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So
Yeah.
yeah, being vulnerable is a big topic.
It's a deep one also. So
Well, it says our vulnerability is a key to building deeper connections with others because it can help create trust, empathy, and understanding. Here are some ways vulnerability can help build deeper connections. Authenticity, where vulnerability is a way to express authenticity and courage and to acknowledge imperfections, helping people feel more comfortable and safe around you. Trust is when you're vulnerable. You allow others to see you for who you truly are. When people trust others, it can create an atmosphere of mutual understanding and acceptance. Empathy is when you take the time to understand another person. You can connect with them on a deeper level. Sharing vulnerabilities can help people understand each other's needs better, which can foster empathy. Others' needs better, which can foster empathy. Emotional growth with people who are emotionally vulnerable tend to report greater satisfaction in their relationships and experience less conflict.
also, active listening is when you listen to each other carefully without interrupting. You allow the other person to express their feelings, and then you can do the same in return. Then you have to have growth. Vulnerability can be an opportunity to grow as a person and to find satisfaction in relationships because accountability is big.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with conflict resolution, vulnerability can encourage open communication, which can make it easier to resolve conflicts and misunderstanding.
Right.
And relatability. Sharing struggles and challenges can make people more relatable, which can build those deeper connections. So, I think when you think about all these different keys you can think about when you're trying to be vulnerable with somebody, being authentic is really important because you
Yeah.
have to show up as your true self, your whole self, with no shame, no feeling like I'm gonna be judged, but this is who I am. and you can accept me for this, and I know I'm safe with you. I think vulnerability is about feeling safe with somebody.
Yeah. It definitely has a whole new outlook in your life and in the world itself, because you can't be vulnerable with strangers on the street. You can't walk into the grocery store and just be vulnerable. And when you start sharing that in a relationship or a friendship or a situationship, you have to start somewhere, and you have to be vulnerable a little bit, but you can actually see how somebody's perceiving your vulnerability.
Right.
So you'll know. You'll just know.
Just know that everybody doesn't deserve your vulnerability.
Mm-mm.
Be very selective in who you give these, I feel like, raw emotions to, because they're sacred to you, so they have to be protected and sacred by somebody else that I believe that cares.
Right. You want somebody to care as much about your vulnerability as you do. So in our vulnerability in relationships, vulnerability is the key to building solid and meaningful relationships. When you share your struggles and challenges, makes you more relatable, but vulnerability is crucial for open communication in relationships. We tend to believe that before we can show ourselves as vulnerable, we first need to either build trust or to ask the other person to be more honest, authentic, or vulnerable. What does it mean to be vulnerable to you?
I kind of say that. Being, completely raw with your emotions, showing up as your whole self with flaws, whatever you feel like you want to hide from the world, you can bring to those people that you feel that you're safe to share with. Your most inner everything.
Yeah, it's like showing up original.
Exactly.
Original, not
It's like the carbon copy of something you want to be in the outside world to protect your inner your inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
You build up this character, this wall to be present in the outside world, but when you come home, who you are is who you are with the people you trust the most.
Right, and that's being vulnerable. How long does it typically take to be comfortable with being vulnerable in a friendship?
I believe in a friendship, it kind of happens kind of fast, because it's no holds barred for real. So maybe first 6 months to a year, good friend.
I mean, it's like being in a friendship versus a relationship. It's like pressure. You feel like, okay, I know what's about to come in a relationship versus a friendship. You know, you're not gonna live together.
Right.
You're not gonna start a life together as one. Versus when you're in a friendship, you can call, you can text. It's more open. So
it's no like you have to. It's because you want to. It's no like I have to maintain this friendship, because if it's really to maintain itself with a relationship, right? You have to maintain. You have to constantly cater, and not in a bad way. But you don't have to do it in a friendship. Y'all can meet once a week, and the vibe is good, and you're good to the next week. Once a month. Some people can meet up. If you stay out of town, you talk on the phone, but maybe once or twice a year, and that's fine. But in a relationship, it's not. You
can't have a relationship and talk to me twice a year on video.
Right, and then you see me once a year, or you talk to me once a week, or you talk to me once a month. That's not. We're not relationship.
We're not. We're
friends. And
not even situationship.
And I'm going to have a quarrel. I'm literally going. We're not even exactly. I'm going to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So just understand that for me, the timeline has to be, what it's supposed to be. You can't just come to me and look like, what's your deepest secrets in the first month?
And
And
we only talked twice last month.
Right. Now, I'll share some funny stories
Mm-hmm.
because I have a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to be vulnerable and I'm not going to tell you completely everything. Right.
Right. It's like I'm sharing myself with you, and you're not putting that same energy into me.
So how long, if it was a friend, would you become vulnerable? Like, what is a good amount of time you feel like in?
You know me. I'm like a lovey-dovey person, and I I go by vibes, I guess, because I can talk to you over the phone, and then when I see you in person, I'm gonna catch that vibe before I catch it over the phone, even on video. It's a different vibe when you are in person. So it would just depend, I'm not gonna be too vulnerable when I first meet you. First couple of weeks, maybe the first couple of months, I'm still not gonna open up too much because why do you want to be my friend?
That's the biggest question.
What do you want to be my friend for?
Especially at this age, like
why are you in need of me
as your friend?
as your
After
friend
all these years of living in the living
on earth without
land
me?
of the living, right? But I think you can kind of pick up genuine people. Sometimes some kind of slip through the cracks because they're very good actors,
Mm-hmm.
narcissists. But I think that, like you say, the vibe, but vibes change.
They do.
So
I want to go to a lot of places with my new friend so we can see how many vibes and change.
You can find out going on vacation with somebody, definitely. Go on vacation with somebody, friend or romantic. And I promise you, by the end of that vacation, you're going to realize what the vibe is for it.
It could be a weekend.
Yeah, you don't have to know. Don't do no 5 days. Especially if it's early. Don't do no 5 days. Nice 2-3 days. Two-day turnaround. Third day, you're traveling, coming home.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, so you think like 3-6 months?
Yeah, I would probably maybe 3 to 6 months, but I'm still not opening up that much.
But you're vulnerable.
I'm vulnerable.
Curtain will start coming down.
Mm-hmm. So what about relationships?
Oh, man, that's different.
Hmm.
Relationships, if you think about it, some move fast, some move slow. So I guess I can say what kind of relationship it would be. Like,
Well, if we're at a relationship status, we've then communicated a lot.
But am I vulnerable though?
I've opened up somewhat.
Emotion. Well, for women, emotional vulnerability is different than everything we're talking about. That's like a topic of its own, right?
Right.
When doing certain things that we do in behind closed doors, right? That's a different kind of vulnerability.
Right.
But as far as vulnerability of just exposing your true self, right? Do you do that in the beginning? Or
it all can't come at once. Relationship takes time, stages, levels, however you want to put it. But I mean, you're not going to jump in a relationship today and then get married tomorrow. And in some cases, some people do, but you knew who that was before.
No.
How long?
Not the truth, because
you knew.
No, I didn't. We weren't together a year before we were engaged.
But it doesn't matter.
And he's still in a whole different state. We didn't even stay in the same state for the first year. So it's
but y'all had a vibe.
He pretended to be something that I could vibe with.
Mm-hmm.
See? That's what I'm saying,
Again,
right?
it
Vibes
doesn't.
change. But I didn't know who I was getting in real life because we didn't live in the same state, and the times we spent together were not long periods of time. And my situation was a completely different situation, but it was definitely rushed, and I definitely didn't know the man I married. Man, and that a year is not long enough to know nobody.
Guess what? I knew mine
But you
all
knew
the way through
him.
high
But
school,
I didn't know mine through high school. I met
and
mine,
his
and within a year, that
whole
was it.
everything changed. It was not the same after
Because,
marriage.
and how do you expect me to have known who I was marrying then? If that person changed, why
So
the
how do you
person?
get vulnerable with somebody?
I wasn't
You know?
vulnerable. I just was trusting. That's different.
Okay.
I wasn't vulnerable. He didn't know everything, and that's the truth. I wasn't completely vulnerable with him because, like I said, the terms of my marriage was different than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I wasn't. But if I were to say vulnerability in a relationship, maybe it's probably the same 6, 7 months, 8 months,
6 months to a year for relationship, and 3 months to 6 months for my friendship.
Yeah, my friendships still, I gauge them like relationships because they're longer than probably all of my relationships. So I kind of gauge
It's
them a little like our relationship because I'm going to be giving a lot of time and emotion to you too.
because it's easier. Like I said, in a friendship, it's not coming with status and
Yeah, but you put a lot in friendships sometimes more than you put in relationships.
that's true.
So I have to gauge you first to see if I can trust you for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
6 months to a year before I really become vulnerable enough to. I'm gonna always come as me, right? But vulnerable enough to introduce you to the rarest form of me, the most protected form of me that I have to protect and keep and hold dear and keep, right? So I think I say like 7, 8 months in a relationship because I have to give a lot more, but you give more in a relationship too in a little bit of time also. So what
Mm-hmm.
about you?
Um,
In
my
6 months?
vulnerability in relationship would probably be between 6 to 9 months, 6 to 9 months. It just depends. I mean, if I'm moving towards a relationship with you, I gotta have some vulnerability on my end.
Mm,
But if you're not being vulnerable, I don't even know if it'll make it to relationship
no, I
status
don't think that's possible.
because it's me opening up and you're just there.
Right. And I can find somebody that wants to be just as vulnerable as I do.
Right.
So,
So, what does building trust to be vulnerable look like for you?
let's see. In a friendship, mm, probably, I guess, of course, spending time together, chilling, hanging out, seeing your vibe in different situations, whether we out in the club or a civil environment or what, just see your reactions to things like that. That will help to build my trust if I know that you will be a friend that I want around for a long time because we can't mesh in every environment. Then I don't have time to pick what environment I can mesh with you in at this age. So in a relationship, oh, also in friendship, trust is stupid. If I tell you something and it leaves the air out of your mouth, then we're having a problem. I don't
Hmm.
care how big or small it is.
Right.
So definitely trust and honesty. Be honest. Listen, you don't have a lot of me. You know why? Because you don't get on with me. You don't owe me nothing,
Mm-mm.
right? If you lie to me, it's not gonna change nothing in life. So you might as well tell me the truth. Because if I find out you're lying to me,
I'm done.
so honesty in a relationship, consistency, loyalty, honesty, and genuineness, just genuineness. And I don't know, I like the romantic, just romantical.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Building trust and vulnerable look like in a friendship. Um, you know, I guess with me having kids and I'm always with my children, so building that trust. If you don't show it
Then it's not gonna
while we're even on the phone with my kids, like we're just not. Our friendship is not going to go anywhere.
Right.
Because if you'll do it over the phone, you'll definitely do it at my house in public, and if you have no respect, it's not going to work. Um, Building trust and being vulnerable in a relationship would be me feeling like, yeah, you're opening up to me. You care about my emotions. You care about my feelings. You care about things that I open up to you. So that's building trust with me. But give me that vibe that she's just trying to build the trust for what?
To just
No.
for your own personal gain.
Right.
Just to be one sided and
out of there.
No time.
Doesn't take long.
People can only pretend for so long.
And as fast as you can pick the phone up, I can hang it up.
If you're in the immediate environment of that person, they can only pretend for so long. Now, if you're in another state, you can be whoever you want from the phone conversations. Just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But you're chilling and you're vibing every day, I say for real, 6-7 months, really for real 8 months, that person gonna really show you who they are. It's gonna slip. It's gonna have to happen if they're pretending.
Yep. Can't lie forever.
So what about relationships?
I said relationships.
Pretty much the same. I thought you were talking about friendship.
I said friendship first, and then we did relationships because it's like if you're gonna be in a relationship with me, you gotta care about my vulnerability.
So any relationship,
pertains to both. My friendship, the vulnerability, my emotions, my feelings matter because I'm a caring person. So yours are gonna matter to me regardless. If you're my friend, if we're in a relationship, I take friendships seriously. Like we're not out here saying, "Oh yeah, that's my friend," and I go home. That bitch ain't my friend. No.
And I'm very honest. So if I call you my friend, know you my friend. And if I call you my associate, know that's what you are. Like I'm not gonna call you friend if you're not that. And I'm gonna tell you, don't call me your friend if I don't feel like you're mine.
She could say, "Don't call me your friend."
And I'm gonna just do it respectfully because it makes
bluntly. No. You just say, "I'm not your friend."
Respectfully.
That's bluntly.
No, I'm gonna be like,
I'm not your friend.
I'm not your. I'm really not your friend, but you cool people though, and
petty.
No, this is me being genuine. This is why people just misunderstand Aries. Like we're coming from the bottom of our hearts. Right here, we're telling you that respectfully, you cool people, but that friend status you ain't quite make it. Don't quite know if you ever will, and it's okay because it's okay with being cool. I don't think this. You
don't have to be my friend if we just cool.
We just cool. We hang out in
group
setting.
Sometimes.
Definitely sometimes. Definitely in group settings, right? Now we're not gonna go chill alone because we're not friends.
Daily or weekly. The blue moon.
But if I'm building trust with you, then it has to be equal interactions for me. And I'm okay with, slacking off that 50-50, but not in the first year. Like all my friends that I really have right now has literally been friends since I was a child.
I said I tried.
I don't know if I have.
Doesn't work. I don't have
one new friend.
I don't have the emotional stability to start a new
Yes.
friendship. Like it just doesn't work because I tried it.
Right.
I tried it, and they don't care. Maybe it might be me. Maybe I'm looking for that vulnerability because I have a circle already.
And you really don't.
I might just be looking for the same thing too fast.
Probably. And stuff like this takes time to release your vulnerability to people. It takes time, and I don't think people realize that. So, well, we talked about the romance, like the regular relationships, regular be family, friends, whatever. But let's just focus on the friends aspect.
Okay.
So, vulnerability is a key component of strong friendships. In building a deeper, more meaningful friendship, it can help you and your friends feel more connected and understood and build that trust. Creating a safe space for each other and also being honest and open. It can also promote self awareness and self acceptance. It is also important to be selective and to consider the timing in choosing these friends to be vulnerable with. Here are some things that you can do to, you know, find that vulnerability with your friends. You got to be acceptance. You got to find ways to be vulnerable. You got to build that trust. You got to share and be true to yourself. You got to be understanding, have empathy, and be able to share your thoughts and feelings and being accepting of the other one's flaws and mistakes because everyone have them. You're going to make mistakes. Don't judge them because when you make yours, they're not going to judge you. And you should feel comfortable in knowing that. Also, acknowledging your friends' feelings. Even when they make those mistakes, be like, you know what? I understand, sis. I understand, friend. We all have those moments. But what we going to do now to push forward and change and do better?
Mm-hmm.
And just practical help. Don't be trying to fix and build them and remake them and make them into who you think they are.
You're not a
Help.
doctor. You're
No,
not a therapist.
you're not a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Help from your level of helping. It's just support and coming up with ways and ideas that you both could literally figure out to move forward where it would help them in a positive way.
The next best thing.
Exactly. And be patient with your friends. Like
Yeah.
it's very important to be patient. And keep offering that ongoing support because life don't stop lifing.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes people need to hear the small things, not even the big things, but the small things. And it should come from the people that you are able to be vulnerable with. Because they're telling you these vulnerable things so you can be that support for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, how vulnerable are you with your friends and how long did it take you to get
Y'all know me like a book. Y'all know everything. Probably except for the color underwear I got on, but everything else.
Pretty much.
And how long did it take us to get there? I don't know. I loved y'all from jump. We was in high school and we hit it off and that was it.
High school, it was really easy to be friends.
It was.
Like, we click, we vibe, this works, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. For me, I am transparent, vulnerable with my friends. You gonna know it all. It may sting, it may hurt. You're like, Sean, what the? Listen, I need this right now. Let me get it all out first. It makes sense at the end, right? So my friends already know that vulnerability is like my middle name. Now, when I was younger, I was vulnerable in different ways, but now, what you doing? Sit down. All right. Let me cross my legs. You got to get it all, and then I want to hear what you think. And
After.
then
You gotta let her finish.
no, after I finish. Because if I don't get it out loud, it's not gonna make sense to you.
Mm-mm.
And you're like,
Questions later. It's very important to have your ears on with your friends when they're being vulnerable, because the first 3 words is not the whole story.
And I'm telling you all the intimate details. Let me get all that out. And I'm an Aries. We got to get all that out. So, let's see. It took me, with my friends, like you say, high school, didn't take long at all.
Mm-mm.
The friends that I've made after high school, am I still friends with somebody after high school? Yes.
Mm-mm.
No.
I'm not.
I don't think so. Forgive me if I am. But I think all of my friends are from high school, and it didn't take me long at all because you just kind of knew back then. It wasn't that hard. So, do you think vulnerability with friends can promote self-awareness and self-acceptance?
When you're being vulnerable with your friends, I do believe that if they're actually listening, it can promote the self-awareness, because you're going to hear yourself be vulnerable. And if they're actually responding and listening, it can make you aware of how vulnerable you're being. And then accepting that is a whole nother story, because it might sound one way when you're saying it, but then when you actually hear yourself say it,
yes, it's completely different, right?
it sounded good when you was thinking about it. And then when you said it, did you hear yourself, sis? Are you serious?
Wait, let me back that up, because I really just heard myself.
We still got life. You want to do that?
You think that's the best idea?
And that helps. That helps when you do have real, genuine friendships, relationships, family. Because
it builds that, I think, for self-awareness, right? You have to be aware, of the things that you're going through. Sometimes it's not always the case when you're going through. Like when you're in it, you don't see every angle, every side of it, right? But if you go to your sister, your bestie, whoever, your best, and you get all these thoughts out your head, and then you look and you be like, oh wait, that nigga is fucking with me. Let me fuck him. Maybe I overshot that, and that was my bad. I probably need to go apologize. And then from there be a lesson that, well, maybe I am a little impulsive, or maybe I am a little selfish, or maybe I do tend to take things to heart and don't figure them out in that moment, but maybe I need to calm down before I make my decisions type thing. And the acceptance, it's usually more comfortable if somebody else accepts, the you that is you. Then you'll be like, I'm really not that bad. I'm not the demon that I thought I was. Maybe I got this much angel in me somewhere. And it's
almost the size of a mustard seed.
And it can grow. And it can grow. It can grow in my fit. We're not talking about me. In general. Like, you have to realize that.
I wasn't talking about me either.
I was. Accepting who you are in that moment and knowing that I need to change, or I did a good job with the way I handled the situation.
Yeah. Because I had your back, whatever you had said. Yep.
And go ahead.
You wasn't wrong
and
at all.
And now that you figured it out, then here we go. So let's move on.
Let's go to vulnerability in a romantic relationship. So vulnerability in relationships can be defined as the willingness to open oneself up emotionally. It is the act of being open with your partner about your thoughts and feelings honestly and express genuine authenticity without the fear of judgment or rejection. It's a key component. Gosh, I think we're in football. I'm sorry, Saints game tomorrow. A key component of healthy relationships and can lead to greater satisfaction and longevity. It can help you build trust and emotional intimacy with your partner and develop deeper understanding and empathy, which are essential. Share your thoughts and feelings, hopes for the future, or your level of commitment to your partner. Discuss problems and try to address them. Show positive emotions. Tell your partner you care and express affection. How do you express vulnerability in romantic relationships?
Let's see. I am very open, like very, very open. I ask me whatever you want, pretty much open book. I'm not gonna lie, it makes no sense to me, but I'm not gonna remember it anyway. So, very transparent. I'm very supportive because I'll be looking for the same support. And I think my vulnerability comes at a rate of in a relationship. I'm gonna give you all that first, right? I'm gonna give you all this 100%. It depends on you how much you keep of this 100%. And once I get to like 49, I'm moving on.
Yeah, I believe it's like being vulnerable in a romantic relationship. You're opening up.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I'm giving you, I'm expecting that same energy. I'm expecting the same emotions. I want the same feelings. I want the romance. I want the, you know, we can share the little puppy love here and there. I still like, I have kids, so I love to play.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to wrestle, but sometimes I just want to do some pranks because they look really fun. And I'm a big kid, and it's okay because it was just a joke.
Right.
It's just a joke.
And then with me, vulnerability, you get my availability. I will make myself available. So if I'm not making myself available, you just know I'm not being vulnerable. Right?
You cut me deep, Shrek. You cut me real deep.
Yeah, like if I am available for you, that means that I am, whatever I'm doing at that moment, making time to show you that I'm going to make the time. Because everybody else ain't going to get that in real life.
Mm-mm.
So if you're getting that kind of attention, that's time I'm vulnerable, right? If I'm being in a state of expressing my emotions to you verbally, I'm being very vulnerable. I don't.
So how long do you think it takes to be vulnerable in a romantic relationship?
To be realistic, for me, a year. By a year, I know how much I'm going to start revealing to you. About 6 months in, I probably would start doing some things to show you that I could be vulnerable, right? But I won't show it. But once I start showing it, that's a definite sign that we're at a romantic level that you should enjoy.
I kind of work on energies now. I've done a whole. I don't know about a 360.
Energy.
I'm like a 180. I'm like, oh, you being vulnerable? You're right. Me too. I feel that. So I can't see a time limit because I don't know. I don't know when you're going to be vulnerable with me. When are you going to be vulnerable with me? Because I could be vulnerable too, but I need the energy type.
I definitely need to know that you're being vulnerable too. I'm not going to be available and vulnerable in that aspect if you're not showing me availability.
Right.
I'm gonna be just as available as you are, even in that aspect, right? But in the same sense, if I am available and I'm actually responding to you, I know it sounds horrible, but in real life,
Blunt.
honest.
You're right. I keep using the wrong word.
Anyway, so either way it go, if it has to be reciprocated, it can't just be I'm doing all this because I like you and you're not doing nothing. We're not doing that.
Right. So how much do you feel about vulnerability and its role in a romantic relationship?
I think vulnerability should be like top 2, top 3 of the list if you're in a romantic relationship. If I can't be vulnerable with you, then I can't be nothing with you.
That'd probably be my number one.
Really?
And only because if I know you're being vulnerable, trust is coming along with that vulnerability.
That's the truth.
So then not commitment, but communication is also coming along with that. So that's top 3. So if you're being vulnerable, you're communicating, and that's trusting me with your vulnerability. You get the same from me.
I think for me, vulnerability would probably be 2. Maybe 3, but definitely 2. I think communication for me would be 1. Because I will have to know where we're at to be vulnerable. And it would have to be, I'm sorry. I'm a vocal
She's not sorry.
person.
She still love you.
Respectfully, I'm sorry.
I love her. She ain't sorry though.
Us always get it so bad. We'd be so genuine. But I just feel like it has to be communicated to me. Like verbally, like, hey, this is what we're doing. For me to click. Because if I don't know how you, I know I should go by actions. See, this is why I struggle. Like, because actions is very good, right?
Louder than words.
But conversation is even better. Because I be needing to know the terms and the conditions. I just can't go off of the whim like, oh, this is what we're doing and what are we doing? But we're not having this conversation, but I need to know, we need to A, B, C, D. And I'd be like, okay, I can do A and B and maybe D.
But I'm still caught up with why you think Aries get it so bad. What do you think Aquarius gets?
You over here roasting me about me being my honest.
And I want you. So don't you want her to be honest?
You say I'm being blunt.
I love her being blunt.
Honest.
That is the best.
Honest.
That's not roasting.
I'm honest.
I love her. I don't care what she says because guess what?
If she didn't, she had no choice.
The bluntness is everything. If somebody can't be blunt with you and actually tell you, then that means they're lying.
See, I'm going to tell you.
They're lying. They didn't tell you the whole truth.
Listen.
See? Lies. Be blunt.
It will come with number 2 with communication being first. Because I would like to talk about things. Because I be wanting to plan my future. Because my head already be there. And if I don't see you there because you ain't said you wanted to be there, I'm going to plan without you. And then if I have to see you there, now I got to backtrack and add you to my future.
I love that bluntness and planning.
In my head, it has to work. So, number 3 would probably be time. So, communication, vulnerability, time. The role I believe it will play is the connection. It will provide the glue. That's probably why I said it'd be number 2. It will be the glue that puts us together. So
I didn't roast you.
You almost did.
I didn't.
Let's do this vulnerability.
Because I love you.
Because
y'all just don't understand.
She been dealing with me for
y'all need to have people in your life that's blunt. I mean, what she called it? Honest.
See how
You
you
need
do
to
me?
have honest
See how
people in
she
your
do
life.
me? Man, listen.
They're great. They're great people.
Vulnerability with oneself is the act of being open and honest about one's true feelings, thoughts, and needs. This is yours.
My needs.
Oh, this is
And
yours
being
right here.
open to the emotions and reactions of others.
We're just getting ahead of ourselves.
It can be important for building trust, forming deep relationships, and personal growth, helping us better understand ourselves and enhancing our self esteem. Confronting fears and uncertainties can lead to increased resilience and a stronger or make you a stronger self. It can also help us to work through our emotions easier rather than pushing them away. Vulnerability promotes good emotional and mental health. How vulnerability are you, or how vulnerable are you with yourself? And do you feel like you need to be more vulnerable with yourself or not? And why?
How vulnerable am I with myself?
That's a good one.
Oh, lately, oh, that's a good one. Maybe I would probably be 75% if I had to do 100. Maybe 60, 70% vulnerable with myself. I think that's probably all I can stand with that brutal honesty. Looking back at me. What about you?
Being vulnerable with myself, I feel like that's accepting my own flaws, admitting to my do's and don'ts. Um, I don't know. You know what? I am a good 75 because I admitted it today. I
See,
did. I had apologized because
see,
I knew I was wrong, but I knew.
she figured it out now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I don't know. Hmm. I need to be more vulnerable because if if I could deal with those things, at least get a good to a good 80. Because after that, you got to be delusional, and I don't think I'm ready to be that.
Mm-mm.
But get to a good 80 of vulnerability where I can be at peace with decisions I made and love on the me that I am now. I think that will be that other 10, 15% that I would need to be at the level of vulnerability I think I need to be.
Well, I feel like your circle helps everybody with that. So if you have real good friendships or sisterhood, you know, that'll help you because being honest,
Hmm.
somebody that's honest with you, she's very. But you hear out because, like she said, if you hear out everything, it all makes sense at the end, and it does.
So if we're being vulnerable with ourselves, right? And we're looking to, you know, understand, empathize, and be authentic with ourselves too. Because sometimes we're not really happy with the person that we look at, right? Because all of the decisions and
We
mistakes
all go through that too,
we've made. So, but giving yourself grace
and
and knowing
acceptance.
and acceptance and knowing with age come wisdom. Like
Mm-hmm.
you ain't had it all figured out in your 20s. If you did,
Bravo.
because
And I
baby,
ain't learning.
I think it took me, I was a young parent. So I think my late 20s, when I feel like it was too late, I kind of started getting a sense of me, right? And accepting the things that, has happened and I can't change. And
I ain't gonna even say giving myself grace because I wasn't even doing that then.
I still go through that now. Like I still have to accept things that I don't want to, but you have to, and that's why you have a circle. You have people that you trust and can be vulnerable with and can lean on. So I really appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you because trust me, listen, this is a reciprocation of energy.
And y'all only see us, but there's more of us.
Listen, you
So
only see them, so we gonna get them up over here.
we just talk about us now because you see us.
But we gonna get them over here. You gonna see
the group will be
you
here.
gonna see the circle, and trust me, it's like a blend of just beautifulness.
And we're all different.
It's a blend of beautifulness. Like it's just like
we all fit together.
Like, how did this is just amazing because it is.
It is.
So we're gonna close out this vulnerability topic. I think we're gonna talk about this again.
Yeah.
Now that we got a little feel of it and know, that it's very, very, very necessary.
And to be vulnerable.
And you can
friendships,
always
relationships.
talk about it still. Even your relationships with your parents or your siblings or your cousins, whatever. It just is important in every aspect of a relationship, in whichever form it comes in. So, vulnerability can be important. Sharing our true selves, including our fears, insecurities, and struggles, can create understanding, which helps create stronger emotional bonds. We all desire to be close and vulnerable with the right people in a relationship of whatever context is the result of gratitude and reciprocity. When someone offers another something very valuable to him or her, and this is called intimacy. Ooh, we're going to do a podcast on
We're going to have to do another one.
Yes. They can transform strangers into friends or lovers or both, or even bring family members just even closer. So, while it can be uncomfortable and people may worry about being taken advantage of or hurt or judged for sharing their deepest fears and insecurity, it's important that you build a relationship that you can feel comfortable with being vulnerable, because those are the most important relationships you're going to have in your life. So, I just think that intimacy and vulnerability brings on a whole different kind of everything, right? It sets the tone for like the relationship to flourish.
So now we're going to reminisce. A time you realized you needed to be vulnerable to maintain a relationship in whichever context, meaning friendship, relationship, situationship, whatever ships you got.
Okay. I guess I would use a situationship. I think I realized I needed to be vulnerable in my situationship of whatever time frame. That I started feeling myself having feelings that I didn't understand, right? And for a long time, I suppressed them and tried to hide them because I felt like I've never been in a situationship, so this is the nature of it. You just deal with this shit, and you just deal with it, and however it go. But once I started having those feelings and I couldn't really shake them, I had to be vulnerable because I had to express that. And in this situation, I don't know, because I could walk away and be like, forget it. But I felt I had to express that this is going to have to end for me because of the feelings that I had. So
I definitely had an exact one because it was like we communicated. I enjoyed talking to him, and my feelings, I started getting involved, and I knew, I already knew. I tried. I was just like, no, we're just gonna talk or whatever, whatever. But deeper the conversation, the more vulnerability that came into just us being friends. I started feeling deep emotions about that, and I already knew it was never gonna go nowhere. Not on my end. It was on the other end. And I knew that because they weren't completely honest. So when that honesty came out, I was like, you made me just waste my breath. You made me vulnerable for no reason. So I did. I told them. I said, you know what? I really cared about it. Cared about you. Cared about this. And I'm done.
You gotta protect yourself, especially in situationships.
I think it's important. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do think it's important that, you know, you do have to let them know. You gotta let them know because you can't keep it on your chest because it's always gonna be in the back of your head. Well, I should have said something.
Right. You have to speak that. Like in my situationship, it was different. It brought us closer, I believe. Me not self-destructing and be like, let me just move around because I'm not supposed to get these feelings, so let me figure it out on my own. But actually being honest with myself and that person, it helped. But it's different in every situation.
It is. It's different in every situation that you can possibly manage.
You have to literally
or think of.
Right. And that's a deal of a situationship. You have to literally be prepared for whichever the wind blows. Because they can be so, into you the first 6-7 months, and then be like, well,
what is there next?
It's situating for you, but it's not situating for me, and you catching these feelings. So you have to. Situationships are complicated. Look, I've only been in one. Situationships are complicated, and it can be emotionally draining because you're always in that in between. We're together, we're not together. We're not together, I can't trip. We're together, so I can trip a little bit, but I can't trip that much. So it's just
complicated.
That's everybody answer to the situationship. We're in a relationship.
Complicated.
And automatically it's a situationship. So I think being vulnerable could always go either way too. So just be prepared for the letdowns that can possibly come with being vulnerable. Because sometimes, like she said, you waste years, you waste months, you waste weeks if you're lucky. With a person that you could possibly be vulnerable with that can hurt you, not really deserve it.
Right.
So be careful.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. And stay prayed up and find your circle because they out there. So let's do this gratitude.
Gratitude. Grateful.
What are you grateful for, Robin?
I am grateful for those experiences.
Ooh.
Why? Because I know I'm a caring person. I know I'm a loving person. I know I do get vulnerable. And I've learned to accept. Sometimes I am too vulnerable. But in some instances, that's how you know if that person is really on your side or not. So sometimes it's okay to be over vulnerable because that's how I found out. I'm like, oh.
I mean, it's always.
So wait, you don't care like I care? You're right.
And it might hurt, but I promise you.
You gonna feel better because you ain't being strung along.
And I ain't gonna let you know that. So just see. I am grateful for the same. My people that I could be vulnerable with. I'm grateful for my circle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all know, y'all. I could not get through this life without y'all. Like this one, the human one, the whole life, not just
Not a
the
little bit, a lot of it.
in a human form. This life,
This
I
one.
could not get through it without y'all. Y'all are like, y'all all I have left. So that's how that works. And just I don't know the comfort that comes with vulnerability. It's a different kind of peace when you can be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable with somebody. I'm
That
grateful for that peace.
genuinely cares.
And I can just rest in it. Like, come here, I need you. And I
I
can do
got you.
that. And I feel like I'm in the safest place in the world.
Yep.
So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the future. What comes with being vulnerable in other aspects besides relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But just I'm just grateful that I'm just able to be grateful at this point.
Yep. Because some people didn't wake up this morning.
Definitely. But we're gonna go ahead and close this thing on out because this is episode what?
10.
We made it to our 10th episode.
Super happy.
Good job,
Excited.
Robin.
Are we halfway through the what?
Good job,
First
Robin. We
season.
got through our first season. We are excited.
Yep.
Well, first half of the season. We didn't get through the season yet. We got
But
10
we got more coming up. We have
episodes.
surprises
So we
next
feel
month.
good. Oh yes, it's gonna get better. So made it through our first half of our first season of our podcast of babes and
Cocktails. And did.
and we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us on Babes and Cocktails. We appreciate your time and we're grateful for you and your positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that you enjoyed tonight's podcast. Come chill with us again. Fridays and Saturdays.
We 9-ish today.
So it's like 9 o'clock. 9-ish, 8, 9, 10 Central-ish.
Mm.
Miracles, magic, lessons, and prosperity.
And remember, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Like, comment, and share. Please send us your
Let
comments.
us know what you think, how you feel, what vulnerability is for you. You know, answer the questions that we asked for yourself. Let us know how you feel. Be vulnerable with us. A small level of vulnerability, that is.
Right.
Till next time.
Bye.